My name is Fiona Stoddard and I'm a lecturer within the business school, and my subject area is real estate, but I'm also the director of student experience here in the business school. And what I hope to do today is just give you a little bit more information about the school and the university, and hopefully your academic career with us. I also have Claire and Margaret who are in the background with me today, and they're going to help me with any questions that you might have, or help me move slides, etc. So just be aware that we have some other people with us. And I really want to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. And as I run through the following slides, I want to give you a flavour of Aberdeen, the university, and of course the business school, and let you see what they have to offer you as you enter your higher education when you finish school. And I hope that at the end of what we talk about today, you won't feel this is daunting, but rather exciting. So if we can move on to the next slide. So I'm going to start with a little thought about Aberdeen itself. And Aberdeen is obviously a city by the beach, which is fantastic. It sits between the North Sea and the Cairngorm National Park and all the mountains and mountain activities that we have. And so we really are very close to the sea. The campus is less than a mile from the beach, so you can walk down and walk along the shoreline, and there are so many things to see in and around the area. There's good bus services to take us around, and there's also train services, and obviously we have an airport to allow us to travel wider than Scotland or within the UK. And so the University of Aberdeen was created after the merger of a college called Marischal College, and you can see a picture of Marischal College there with the sort of very grand granite facade, and that happened around 1860, and it was all part of the University of Scotland's Act 1858. The interesting thing about the building you see there is, while that was part of the university and technically still is, it is now occupied by Aberdeen City Council. But what is interesting is it is the second largest granite building in the world. So we have some pretty strong credentials in our architecture and our city. As I've mentioned, we have the beach, and then we also have, you can see in the bottom corner there, Dunnottar Castle, which is down at Stonehaven. And it's probably best known for the fact that it's the place that the honours of Scotland, i.e. the Scottish Crown Jewels, were hidden from Cromwell's invading army during the 17th century. The ruins have been preserved, and it is absolutely spectacular. If you want a day out, please do go and visit that when you spend your time in Aberdeen. And then closer to the sea, and although we can't see a full picture of it, is a place called Fitty or Footdee. And that's an example of a planned settlement in the case for fishermen and their families in Aberdeen. And it was one of the first places that they had proper drainage in the streets, and they had a school for children to be able to learn, and they had washing facilities, etc. So Fitty still exists today. The first reference to it was 1398, but it is there, and you can walk around it, and people live there, and it's an absolutely fascinating place to go and visit. Again, just little things to give you an interest in the city beyond the university. So if we can move on to the next slide. We'll now focus on the University of Aberdeen and the business school. So we are highly ranked and we are EQUIS accredited. What does that mean? Well, the EQUIS quality improvement system is a leading international system of quality assessment, improvement and accreditation. So out of 15,000 business schools and management schools around the world, there are just over 200 across 45 countries that have gained EQUIS accreditation. And so you're coming to a place that is one of few. But we're also accredited by lots of other bodies, and we will have a talk about that also as we go through. But the Energy Institute, ICAS, ICAEW, which is the Institute of Chartered Accountants England and Wales, ACCA, CIMA and CIPFA, which are all related to accounting, CIM, which is the Marketing Institute, CIPD, which is the HR Institute, and RICS, which is my subject specialism, the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, are all accredit our degree programs here at the university. And so they give you, if you like, a golden ticket when you exit to have access to those professional bodies also, and perhaps some exemptions from the professional examinations and tests that you might take going forward. So we are number one in student positivity in business studies. We have our rankings in the Guardian and the Times, as you can see. And so I think it just gives you a flavour of the fact that we are well respected and well known within the marketplace. And we do all of this under our Athena Swan accreditation. And Athena Swan is all about an international community where we work towards promoting equality and maximise the development opportunities to all staff and students. So let's move on again. Beyond traditional thinking. So one of our things is, are we ready to start breaking boundaries? Our degrees are designed to be flexible. What we want for our students is that, yes, you will focus on a specialist area, but you can build other subjects around that to support your studies and maybe give you something that you don't want to give up. Maybe you've enjoyed something at school and you really like the idea of studying it, but you don't want to do a whole degree in it. So the way that we create our degree programs is we give you flexibility to actually pick up other subjects. So if I can try and explain it without going into too much detail, here's how it works. Every year of study at a university, and this is anywhere you go and study, is 120 credits. And you need 480 credits to get your undergraduate BSc or MA degree. So 4 years of study. In our first year, all of our subjects are 15 credits. So what happens is you have to choose 4 subjects in term 1 and 4 subjects in term 2. So 60 credits on each term. Now, part of those 120 credits will be chosen for you. They are compulsory, or they're core subjects that sit within your degree program. So if you're doing an economics degree program, you will have to take certain economics courses because that's the underpinning for your degree. So let's say you had to take 2 economics courses in term 1 and 2 economics courses in term 2, just as an example. You would still have 2 further choices in each term that you could choose literally from anywhere in the university. But we try to tell you it's worth keeping a focus. And the aim would be to try and decide what it is you want to study, but leave as many degree pathways within the business school open to you as possible. And the reason I say that is, as it says on the slide, you can transfer from one program to another, and you can study multiple disciplines through a joint degree. So if you choose cleverly at the beginning, you give yourself what we call the prerequisites, or the underpinning, to be able to do different degree programs and build them together. So you might end up with a joint degree even though you started with a single degree, or you might start with a joint degree and actually think, I really just want to do the single subject as you go forward. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense. But the aim is to leave yourself those choices, and don't worry, you're not left on your own to do this. During your welcome week and your induction week, there's a lot of help given to you to help you choose those subject areas. So it's not, you're not being set out like, oh, off you go and do it yourself. But I think the key that I want to get across to you is that it is incredibly flexible. So you can see there, if you have an interest in languages, perhaps you do German or French, maybe you do Gaelic, or it's history or politics or geography or psychology, legal studies, maybe it's some computing science, whatever it is, you can build it into your degree in those first 2 years to help give you a choice going forward. And our degrees within the business school, as I've listed there, accountancy, business management, economics, finance, international business, and then real estate. But also you could be doing finance and real estate, or economics and finance, or accountancy. So we can mix and match those degrees to single or joint honours as available. In terms of global scholarship, there's self-funded international undergraduates can receive up to £6,000 in forms of a scholarship in each year of their programme. And so the best way to deal with that is to look at the website and speak with our teams if you have any questions. And there are some terms and conditions. Okay, let's move on again. So since 1495, we've held space for debate and discussion, for talking. And what we've tried to do is create what we see as generational change. We've been doing this for over 525 years. We lead in research. And some of the things that we have within the university and within the business school to help that is, for example, the Bloomberg Lab. So we have a finance laboratory which uses the Bloomberg Terminal, which is a software platform, and that provides real-time and historical data. It provides sort of market-moving news within the finance and analytics world to help business owners and financial professionals make better investment decisions. And so the service gives us access to platforms for all the asset classes and a global network, so there's communication, but students can experience what it's like for the, I don't know, 330,000 leading banks and corporations and agencies who already use this software. So if you're thinking about your career, you'll already have seen how all this works by the time you leave university. And that's a really positive thing for moving on and, as we say, going beyond your expectations. We have computer labs, the library has a range of bookable spaces for you, whether you want to work in groups or quietly. And so that helps you find space that works for you and your studies. And the other one I want to point out right in the middle there, AB Venture Zone. What on earth is AB Venture Zone? The AB Ventures is the university's free entrepreneurship advice and support service. And it's there to empower you as our students and recent graduates to develop entrepreneurial skills and launch successful ventures. They do master classes, there's workshops, there's one-on-one business advice, there are mentoring sessions, they even have breakfast sessions sometimes where you can meet people. And because of our connections with the wider Scottish entrepreneurial ecosystem, they can help you grow a business idea, start a business, start a venture. And you might think, what's this got to do with me? But it's never too early to start. And you have an incredible support mechanism there. If you've got an idea, then tell somebody about it. You never know what might happen. And during the year, there are a number of different competitions, like the Light Bulb Ideas competition, and you can win cash to help with your business idea and take it forward. And the reason I make the point of it, you know, you're here thinking, I'm just getting to university and you're talking about careers. But actually, building your CV for when you leave the university is really important. And so perhaps this is a great way for you to actually learn a bit more about how business operate and what it takes to become a business owner. So definitely something I would say to keep an eye out for. And again, during induction week, the team from AB Ventures do come down and chat to us. So just, I guess what I'm trying to say is, yes, you're coming to university to study your degree, but there is so much more that goes on beyond that. And so it's really important that you are aware of those ideas and thoughts. So let's move on to the next slide. Where are you going to stay? Well, we have lots of different possibilities, but the key thing to know is that if you're a first year student, if you've applied by our deadline, so you've got your offer and you want to come here, then if you use the QR code, then you will get guaranteed accommodation, as I say, based on you having applied within the right time, but it is there. And so we have a wide range of accommodation, from sort of standard and ensuite rooms to flats. The Hillhead Student Village is just a short walk from the main campus, and a bus ride from the city centre, and buses come out to the Hillhead campus. And there is also the opportunity to live on campus. We have accommodation actually physically on the King's College campus as well. So you literally, well, have no excuse to be late for a lecture, of course, because you're living on campus. But sometimes you might still be late, I guess. And did you know that Aberdeen has been named Scotland's second safest city? But we don't take that for granted, and we do provide, if we could move on, with some important support mechanisms. But just before I talk about those, let's just have a wee look at some of the testimonials that we've had from some of our students, our graduating students. So Angus refers to the fact that the lecturer had written the paper about the topic that we were discussing. And that's what I said about, we are a research institution. Our staff work very hard on research topics and ideas. And we also have very strong links with business organisations and industry and professions across the UK. And so we're able to draw on all of that to bring that to our teaching. And that is exactly what we do. We also have the opportunity to go abroad. So Albert decided to go off to Korea and went and not only studied, but learned about a new culture, met people. So there are so many different things that are available to you. Victoria, from the real estate degree, had her accredited degree, but that gave her the chance to work at Standard Life Investments, and that allowed her to become MRICS, a member of the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. So we do these things, and they are all there embedded within our degree programmes to help you make the most of your time at university, and hopefully you will. If we go to the next slide. Because at the end of the day, even though we're on this journey and you're just setting out on it, employability is hugely important. You're going to study in the energy capital of Europe. The city and university attracts major FTSE 100 companies. Our graduates are very successful in gaining employment post-qualification. We're certainly in the 90% quartile, if you like, for employment or further study within 15 months of graduation. And we offer a range of guest lecturers and industry speakers, and a lot of those people are our alumni. They are people who have been exactly where you are, chose to come to Aberdeen, and now are very successful business people around the world. So if I tell you we've got something like 83,500 alumni across 192 countries in all sorts of occupations, and there's a list down there which is absolutely the tip of an iceberg of where people work, then I hopefully am trying to let you see that not only we would you perhaps work in the UK? You could work anywhere in the world, and that is our hope for you, that you find something that you want to do. So if we move on, you matter to us. Bottom line, I mentioned the fact that we are a very safe city, but we do have support mechanisms across the university to help you. And life is never a straight line. And things happen that just you can't predict and you can't explain, but there is support available to all our students from a variety of support mechanisms, from counselling to disability services, equality, diversity and inclusion. We have multi-faith chaplaincy, and we have student advice and support office, and we have our student helpline, and that is open 24 hours a day and offers free of charge and immediate emotional support and guidance. It's provided by a company called Spectrum Life, which is independent, but it means that you have access to trained specialists who will be able to talk you through and signpost and guide you. So there is always somebody there for you. The other people that we need to mention, of course, is AUSA. AUSA is your student union, the Aberdeen University Students Association, and they give all sorts of exciting events. So there's 55 sports clubs, there's over 200 societies. If you wanted to be involved in journalism, there's even our own newspaper. So there's all sorts of things that you can do. Careers and employability team, you might think, again, why are you telling me about that now? They offer part-time jobs. They can help you get part-time work from the day you start. So they are a great source of information for you. There's obviously IT help desks and the language centre and student learning. The business school has a society which started in 2011, which is the Aberdeen University Trading and Investment Club. And that is one of the largest societies in the university, in the business school. And they look at how we invest money and equip members to create DCS, discounted cash flows, and using Bloomberg, etc. So beyond your academic courses, there are other societies there that can help you learn as well. And the other thing that AUTIC does is it gives members the opportunity to go to the Warwick Economic Summit, so down at Warwick University, and the university tries to help out with, from the business school student experience fund, some help with your travel costs, etc. for that. So that's something to bear in mind. Okay, if we could move on. My question to you is, are you ready to start breaking boundaries? I hope what I've given you captures some of the opportunities, but it lets you see that that transition from school to university is not so much scary, but really, really exciting. And we're here to help you. We're here to help you get the best out of your studies. AUSA are here to help you explore societies and connect with everybody else who are studying, not necessarily in your course, but across the wider university. And the support services are there to just help guide you and support you if you need that. You might not, but if you do, it is there for you. Never be afraid to ask for help. I can't force you to choose Aberdeen, and there's lots of other universities out there, but what I am going to say is I genuinely believe Aberdeen is big enough to offer everything a city will offer, but it's at a scale that is not overwhelming. We have access to the mountains, the sea, the beach, the countryside, castles, history. Oh, and 300 seals along at Newborough Beach. And of course, our Northern Lights. I hope we will see you in September and that we can share your journey. But for now, I will ask, does anyone have any questions? And let's see where we take that. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. That was a great overview of everything at Aberdeen Uni Business School. I'm going to kick us off just with a couple of sort of basic questions to get the ball rolling. So perhaps people would be wondering, what would a typical week for the timetable look like? How many sort of classes would you be in? Where would your time be going in a typical week at uni?
Okay, so as I said, each term you'll be doing 4 subjects. Most subjects work on the basis of between 3 and 4 hours of class contact time in a standard week. So you might have 1 or 2 hours of lectures, and that might be in a 2-hour block, for example. And then you'll have 1 or 2 hours that are either a seminar or a tutorial. And the idea is that the lectures give an overview of the subject, the topic, and the tutorials, you will be asked to do some questions or maybe prepare something for the class that you can then discuss in more detail. So the lectures might be quite big. They might be 300 people, for example, in some of the big economics classes. But then the tutorials will have 20 to 30 people in them, and you will work in smaller groups and you'll get to know your cohort that way. So I guess if you're doing 4 subjects, it will be somewhere between sort of 12 and 16 hours that you are physically in class. Now, that doesn't mean you have the rest of the week to just wander off, because you obviously have to prepare for these classes, and you will have coursework and you will have assignments to do. And so what you need to do in your diary is say, okay, those are the hours that I've got, and they'll be on different days and at different times. The bit that is sacrosanct within the university, a Wednesday afternoon is sports afternoon. You do not have any timetabled classes on a Wednesday afternoon. And most programs and courses try to have these stopped by around about 11, 12 o'clock to give people time to go and play sport if you're representing the university in sports. But for Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, your classes can be at any time during the day, from 9 o'clock and technically up till 6 o'clock in the evening. So you would attend those, and then with the rest of the time, you should be reading and preparing your work to come to the next class. Is that reasonable?
Sounds good to me. Thank you. Another sort of general question, maybe about assessments. What sort of assessments could you expect to receive at university?
So it depends on the course. Sometimes where we have accredited degree programs and subjects, the accrediting body, so let's say CIMA or ACCA, will say we need to know that your students can do X, Y, and Z. And the way we want you to test that is by an exam. So we get you to practice doing those exams during your time at university. So when you exit, you have that skill. Mostly during the term, you'll have 1 or 2 other assessments or assignments. So it might be that you have to write an essay about a subject. So you need to go away and read around that subject and then answer the essay question that's been set. Sometimes it's a report, so you're maybe given some facts and you have to decide what you want to do with that information. So it's a slightly different structure. Sometimes you might be asked to give a presentation. So you might be asked to make a poster or a PowerPoint presentation, and you have to deliver that, usually not on your own at the beginning, but in groups. So you work together to do that. Or it might be that we have what we call class tests. And sometimes those are done online on your computer, where you've got a timed session, and they're just short questions, and they're designed to kind of just give you way markers and test that you're understanding the information that you're being given in your lectures and your tutorials at intervals through the term. So there might be 2 of those. First one might be after, say, week 3 or 4, and another one after week 7 or 8. And that just helps the lecturing staff and your tutors see if there are any weaknesses and where we can help support you develop your learning. So they're designed not only to test you because we need to get a grade for you, but they're designed to help you see where you might have a weakness, and then we're using it to help you then progress further and build your learning. So different things: essays, reports, exams, class tests, presentations, all testing different elements of your skills, but all designed to help support your learning.
Great, thank you. And maybe a question now on some of the support services that you mentioned. There was a question about if these are free of charge or not, things like the counselling and that sort of thing.
Yes, absolutely free of charge. And, you know, I can't stress it enough. If there is an issue or if you're concerned about something, you need to say, you know, there are a lot of people at the university. I sometimes wonder, I think often of classes where we ask you to sign in and you scan a code and go, why do we have to do that? What are you checking? And in a way, it's a way for us to make sure you're okay. Because if you don't turn up to a class, the system tells us. And so we can reach out to just check, are you okay? Is everything going as it should? And if not, then we can put in place whether it's guidance or support. And one of the things at the beginning, so we often hear from people who maybe have dyslexia or dyspraxia or other matters that need some extra time or just need a little bit of understanding. Those get put into your own file, if you like, in the university, your transcript, your details, and staff will know, so that if you need extra time in exam, that will happen. If you need extra time to submit an essay or whatever, then that becomes part of the process too. But you do not pay for these services. They are there to help you. So if you're not sure if you're dyslexic, for example, you could be tested and we can check. So as I say, it's just so important that you, if you have any doubts or any questions, that you come and ask us and we can hopefully help resolve that situation.
Great, thank you. I'm just going to acknowledge one of the questions that came in. It was about scholarships for UK students, not just international students. And just to say that we've provided a link in there. So on our website, there's a full list of scholarships that are available. And we certainly do have funding opportunities for students who are in the UK as well. Now to another question that came in. When do we pick the classes that we want to take that aren't required for our course? I can help answer that now if you need.
Yeah, I mean, during your induction week, when you join the university, there's this hiatus, but you can be looking at the website prior to think, oh, I quite fancy that, or I'm not sure, well, that's quite interesting. And then you can go and find out. We also have, so you might want to do the process clear in terms of going to Student Information Hub, etc. and online. Do you want to say something about that? And then I'll add something at the end.
Sure, yeah. So it's very much a straightforward process that all of the students do, where you log into a system and you can select the courses that you're going to take that semester, and you can see on the website the descriptions for all the different courses across the whole university. You can read about what's entailed in them, what the assessments are, who teaches them, so that'll help you decide. And then it's literally just an online system where you can select those courses, and then it'll take you to another screen where you select your timetable, you know, which classes you want to go to out of those courses. So it's nothing to worry about. It's very straightforward, and it's something that everybody has to do.
Yeah, and the only thing I was going to say is the first 2 weeks of every term, you might choose something, you think, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then you might be thinking, or do I want to do that? And so you can actually sit in on classes. And if you go to a class and you think, oh no, this isn't for me at all, then you can switch out. You've got 2 weeks. There is a deadline, so you have to be careful. But you can switch out. So you can go and listen in and think, oh, this sounds quite interesting. I think I could do this. Or actually, no, this isn't what I want to do at all. I'm going to do something else. So there's even a kind of micro flexibility in those first 2 weeks of each term all the way through your university career, to make those choices and just hear a little bit about a subject that you think you're interested in. And if not, then you just go back into the system, you take out the one that you don't want and you put in the one that you do, and off you go. It's as simple as that. But again, Student Information Hub have people on hand during those first sort of 3 weeks of the year starting, to get you up to speed with what to do. If you've got any issues, you just speak to someone. The other thing I will say is you also have, the business school also provides you with a personal tutor. And the personal tutor will also be able to help you over your time at university, choosing and making choices about what sorts of things you want to study, or what would be a good path to maybe follow to create the underpinning you need to move forward, and maybe broaden out your subject areas. So that's another important element to highlight to you.
Great. Another question that's come in is about the careers service. And you mentioned that they can help with part-time jobs. Could they also help us to find internships that are related to our course?
Yes, well, I can talk from personal experience. So I, as I say, am a lecturer in the real estate team, and we have very strong links with the market here in Aberdeen, and we have a lot of our students not only doing internships, but also doing part-time work, particularly when they get into their sort of 3rd and 4th year. But the careers and employability service, I mentioned them at the beginning, they have access to all sorts of different internship work, from volunteering and third sector, if you like, the sort of charity side work, to work with all the big companies across the UK. They can help with going abroad also, but let's focus on Aberdeen first of all. They have work shadowing days, and that's open to all years from 1st year onwards. You can go and spend a day with an accountant or an economist or a real estate team, you know, a company. And so you can go and do all of these things. Sometimes then they will have a week long or 2 weeks or 4 weeks. So yes, it is absolutely available to everybody. And the best route is through careers and employability. But from my point of view, I have a lot of connections within real estate, so I help our students make connections also. And the other thing is, if there are societies, so I say it's bad because it's speaking about real estate, but just to give you an example, there is the RICS have the Young Members Society, which is called Matrix. And so we actually have one of our 4th year students now is on the board, is on the committee of Matrix in Aberdeen, because they took an interest and they said, come and join us, come and be part of this. So the opportunities, just the doors are there, they just need to be opened, I guess is what I'm saying. But there is always support to help you open those doors. Whether it's personal tutors, whether it's your subject lecturers and tutors, or most importantly, I think the Careers and Employability Service are exceptionally good and have an amazing array of contacts. I mean, the tall ships last year is absolutely classic point, where so many of our students were involved in that event. You know, so there are opportunities everywhere.
Lovely, thank you. And perhaps the last question is about accommodation, and is most accommodation for the university within walking distance? Good question for getting to class on time.
Yes, I mean, Hillhead even is definitely within walking distance. You just go down through the park, or you can walk along the main road. But any sort of private student halls or flats are all within walking distance as well. I think that's what I was trying to say about Aberdeen. It is a city. It has all the facilities of a city, but it is not a big sprawling kind of space. It's compact, and therefore you can walk quite easily from all sorts of accommodation, whether it's university provided or third party student accommodation, be it Unite or Nest or whoever, or whether it's private rented accommodation as you go further on in your university career, where you get together with friends and decide you're going to rent your own flat and do whatever. So I would say yes, unless you head all the way out to cults or something. But I can't imagine you would. So very easy to walk around the city and safe to walk around the city is the point.
Great, thank you. I think that's all the questions that have come in this morning. So I'll let you wrap up.
Well, thank you. I think the questions have been really good. Hopefully I've given some answers and Claire's given some answers too that help settle ideas or thoughts in your head that you might have had or maybe not sure about. But what I would say is, if you have any questions at all, any further queries, please get in touch with the student recruitment team. Their contact details are there on the screen right now. If you use that, then they will either field the question out to lecturing staff or support staff, whoever it is that they feel would best answer your questions. But rest assured, we will come back and answer your questions. So yeah, hopefully we will see you all in September. Thanks very much.